Good afternoon and welcome to On Sheridan. I'm Arvin Ordonez.
And I'm Crystal Devine. Coming up, an update on the taxi Uber strike, the latest for the Gomeshi trial, and Kyle Johnson tells us why there are red dresses displayed all over the Sheridan campus. Good news for the NBA fans. Taxi drivers are postponing the planned protest after the NBA All-Star Weekend. Paul Second, a representative of the New Taxi Alliance, says the emotions overran them when they first decided to strike. Second announced the news after talking to a dozen taxi representatives behind closed doors. The protest was supposed to encourage city officials to change the way Uber operates. Toronto Mayor John Tory expressed his sympathy for taxi drivers, but also asked for their patience as the new draft of regulations is being developed.
Controversial Toronto Deputy Police Chief Peter Slowly is retiring after 27 years of service. Slowly signed a retirement deal earlier this morning. A police board statement said he is moving on to explore new careers. CP24 is reporting the deputy chief went to the board in November telling them that he was ready to retire. Slowly made headlines last month after criticizing the force and its billion-dollar budget.
We found out today that Trailer Park Boys actress Sarah Dunsworth is the final Crown witness at Gian Gomeshi sexual assault trial. Dunsworth is a friend of Lucy DeCouture, who is also a Trailer Park Boys actress who has accused the broadcaster of sexual assault. Crown attorney Michael Callahan told the court a statement Dunsworth made to police corroborates DeCouture's allegations that Gomeshi choked and repeatedly slapped her in the summer of 2003. Closing arguments for the trial are set for tomorrow. The trial for the murder of Tim Bosma continues today. Today, an expert testified that fingerprint analysis shows that Millard's prints matched those that were found on Bosma's truck. Other testimony centered on the trailer found that Millard's mother's property with Bosma's truck inside. A police officer testified that during transportation of the trailer to the forensic facility, an empty box fell out along with a tarp.
The family of murdered 23-year-old Duvel Hebert is suing the music nightclub for $2.5 million, citing lack of appropriate security. Hebert was shot after a Drake concert. 26-year-old bystander Aurelia Navarro-Fenoy was also killed. She was attempting to hail a cab to escape from the gunfire. Navarro-Fenoy's friends say she was turned away by a taxi because she was a low fare.
Toronto police are releasing surveillance footage in relation to a Chinatown shooting that killed 2 and injured 3 in January. At a press conference this morning, Detective Mike Carbone urged anyone who can identify the people in the video or anyone else that interacted with the victims to come forward. If you can help, call 416-808-7400.
Police are searching for a 14-year-old Mississauga boy who's in need of medicine. Ryan Hussein was last seen Monday at a Toronto hotel near Richmond Street and University. He's South Asian with medium complexion, 5 feet 4 inches tall, 94 pounds, and has black short straight hair. Ryan is believed to be wearing a black winter coat, gray hoodie, black running shoes, and a blue JanSport bag. If you've seen him, please call 1-800-222-8477.
A man is in hospital with serious injuries after a crash in Brampton early this morning. He ran into a pole at around 2:30 a.m. near Sandalwood Parkway and Heart Lake Road. Details on what led to the crash are unknown, and the man's age and identity have not yet been released. So far, there are no word on charges. 3 people have been sent to Toronto Hospital after a crash last night in Oshawa left them in severe condition, among them a 15-year-old boy. Police say the 23-year-old driver lost control of the car, which proceeded to collide with a tree and a house. A 5th passenger was in the car during the collision but fled the scene afterwards. Officers are still investigating, however, they believe alcohol may be a factor.
In a show of goodwill that suggests John Tory's Smart Track transit plan is on track with the province's GO expansion, the mayor will join Transportation Minister Stephen Del Duca at the Metrolinx board today. The $8 billion Smart Track plan proposes using the Kitchener and Stouffville GO lines to move Toronto commuters and connect to Markham.
General Motors is recalling 473,000 trucks and SUVs in North America. The recall is due to malfunctioning brake pedals that may come loose or fail to work. The dysfunctional brake pedals affect 2015 to 2016 Chevrolet Silverado, GMC Sierra, and Chevrolet Tahoe. 46,800 Canadian vehicles are affected. Filler Up Edmonton, at an average of 61 cents per litre, it is currently the lowest gas price in Canada. One of the factors contributing to cheap gas in Edmonton is refineries are producing more gasoline at a time when oil prices have fallen. Meanwhile, in Toronto, gas prices are as high as 84.9 cents, and Vancouver is even higher at $1 per litre.
Investigations continue today after 2 people were injured in an industrial accident in Don Mills Road and Eglinton Avenue area. One man received serious burns and another victim suffered minor injuries due to chemical burns. Firefighters have sealed the chemical leak and the Ministry of Labour has been notified. The University of British Columbia is speaking out after Rainbow Pride flag raised for the school's annual Out Week was found burnt on the flagpole. The university has condemned the incident as an act of hate that violated the school's deeply held values of equity, inclusion, and respect. Out Week is a yearly celebration of gender and sexual diversity. Campus security and the RCMP are investigating.
Voters in Thursday's Whitby-Oshawa election will become part of the Canadian history. Elections Ontario is running a pilot project using electronic voting machines in 42 of the 70 polls. Along with these, a new scanning machine will be used to electronically check off names from the voting list. The goal is to modernize the electoral process while still maintaining integrity.
Hopefully, with this new technology, we will have a greater voting turnout.
Absolutely. After the break, we'll take a look at how you can protect yourself from a potential assailant.
Okay.
Raising awareness about missing Indigenous women is the focus of the new initiative on campus. Kyle Johnston is live with the story. Kyle?
The Sheridan Indigenous Alliance has started displaying these red dresses around campuses Monday. Jamie Black, a Winnipeg native, started the Red Dress Project back in 2010 and is creating quite the conversation around an often ignored topic.
Bodiless, swinging in the breeze, but full of spirit, a simple red dress has caught the attention of students at Sheridan College.
They represent the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Canada.
Part of the purpose for joining the National Red Dress campaign was to create attention using a positive, impactful symbol.
I just want people to know that this is an issue in Canada. It's still an issue in Canada that our girls and our women are going missing and are getting murdered.
There are over 1,000 missing or murdered Aboriginal women in Canada. The Sheridan Indigenous Alliance has joined the Red Dress Project to help create awareness.
We're hoping to raise awareness and attention towards an issue that I feel, has been very underrepresented in Canada and definitely in our Trafalgar, Sheridan, and larger Sheridan communities.
According to the RCMP, in 2013-14, 37% of female murder victims were Aboriginal. but Aboriginal females only make up 3% of the female population in Canada.
We want to kind of bring attention, but also have a positive, healing kind of end to this week, because this is very emotional for students to even answer questions about and talk about.
The SIA will wrap up this week's Red Dress campaign with a drum circle. The drums start beating tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. on Trafalgar campus in the Marquee, and on February 12th at Davis campus starting at 7 p.m. Reporting for On Sheridan, I'm Kyle Johnston.
February is Sexual Assault and Awareness Month, and here at Sheridan, the SSU organized a special self-defense class. Hillary Johnson was there.
The Sheridan Student Union is making great strides to help students stay safe by spreading awareness on various safety programs here at Sheridan, as well as conducting a class on self-defense.
I go to forest alone all the time, so I was like, maybe I should try to learn myself to self-defense and everything. So,
well, my goal is basically that to leave the students and the experience of, like, you know, not only the self-defense, also self-confidence of, like, they are not alone here. They're not alone in the campus, that we have here resources for them and towards their security, such as 24-hour security, the safe walk, that we would like to promote more than that.
I'm just a safe walk team member. That's what we're called. Like, we get some at like 11:30 and they're walking through the forest, and like it makes them feel safe just being kind of that group, because there's two of us at a time, like a male and a female.
Amanda Galley is the martial arts instructor for this event and has been teaching since she was 16 years old.
My goal for this class was just to come out and everyone have a great time and obviously learn something. However, I can modify the techniques to make them more realistic to how they would be on the street. I was open to show them and give them that knowledge.
Thanks to SSU, Sheridan students are now putting their safety matters into their own hands. For On Sheridan, I'm Hillary Johnson.
Intelligence-led cocaine seizures have increased almost 49% at the Canadian border. Border Services says the skyrocketing cocaine seizures last spring and summer are credited to the increasing collection and use of solid, actionable intelligence. The Zika virus is spreading faster than anticipated. Primarily spread by mosquitoes, cases of the virus have been reported in several southern states and as far as north as Ohio.
Women were quite aware, quite anxious about what should happen if they come back from these areas and have potentially been exposed to the virus.
The virus is known to cause microcephaly in infants and underdevelopment of the brain. Recent cases are showing lesions in babies' retinas, leading to permanent vision loss. In response to rapid spread, the Center of Disease Control is activating the highest level of emergency, and an international emergency is being declared by the World Health Organization.
Just weeks before his trial concludes, Senator Mike Duffy has submitted an updated disclosure form to the Senate Ethics Office. The form is an annual requirement from senators to maintain a good standing. The move is being interpreted as an attempt by Duffy to keep his paperwork above board if he is to return. However, he must first inaugurate all of 31 criminal charges he faces. Canada's Defence Minister Harjit Sajjan is spending the next 2 days meeting his NATO counterparts in Europe. Issues on the table include the ongoing Syrian conflict in the Middle East, proactive defense measures in Eastern Europe to protect against Russia, and Canada's effort to increase its training of allies.
This morning marks a victory for both Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders and Republican candidate Donald Trump.
We are going to start winning again, and we're going to win so much, you are going to be so happy.
What began last week in Iowa, what voters here in New Hampshire confirmed tonight, is nothing short of the beginning of a political revolution.
Trump has come out on top of his peers, followed in second by John Kasich. With Ted Cruz in third, Sanders dealt a decisive blow to Hillary Clinton's campaign. She's only won 2 towns in the entire state. The beginning of the next caucus is in a week and a half, targeting the states of Nevada and South Carolina. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen addressed Congress today in her semi-annual report. Yellen notes falling currencies in China as one of the Federal Reserve's main concerns. While volatility shown by China's market worries some, Yellen says the U.S. is on the path to growth. Citing lower unemployment, now sitting at 4.9%, what does this mean for Canada? It could push our interest rates up.
Heavy rainfall is causing severe landslides and floods in Indonesia. The National Disaster Mitigation Agency said the rain has caused 3 rivers to overflow. A family of 6 was killed in the landslide, and the body of another man was found after being swept away by strong currents. The heavy rain also forced 2,000 people out of their homes. With storms expected to continue, authorities have set up several camps for shelter in the affected areas. Investigations continue after the body of a Mexican journalist was found along a highway in Puebla City. And now Flores Salazar was abducted from her home on Monday by gunmen dressed in military uniforms. The 8 or more assailants claimed that they had a warrant for the report's arrest, forced her into her truck. Her body was found naked and bound with her head wrapped in a plastic bag. Mexico's Special Prosecutor for Crimes Against Freedom of Expression will investigate her abduction and death.
South Korea and Japan are responding to North Korea's recent nuclear and rocket tests. South Korea is shutting down an industrial complex just over the border in North Korea. This cuts off a major source of income for the regime. Seoul is accusing North Korea of using inter-Korean projects for its nuclear and missile programs. Japan is also implementing new economic sanctions, banning North Korean citizens from coming into Japan and North Korean ships from calling at Japanese ports. A Japanese telescope with X-ray vision improved by Canadian technology is set to launch Friday. JAXA's Astro H will head to space from Tanegashima Space Center at 3:25 a.m. The telescope will orbit 550 kilometers above Earth to help solve space mysteries such as black holes. JAXA contains chemical detectors that will change according to the elements found in black holes. As Neil Armstrong said, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We'll leap into the entertainment after the break.
There's a lot going on in sports right now.
Kelsey, what's the latest?
Well, Crystal, the Leafs are still talking about the big trade with captain Dion Phaneuf heading to Ottawa in a blockbuster multiplayer deal. The trade involved 9 players total, sending defenseman Jared Cowan and forwards Milan Michalek and Colin Greening to the Buds, as well as Sens prospect Tobias Lindberg. After the captain got shipped off, the rest of the team had to suit up and take on the Calgary Flames, and it wasn't pretty. Down 4-1 in the third, defender Jake Gardner and forward P.A. Parenteau pulled the Leafs within 1, but the effort wasn't enough. They fall 4-3 to Calgary and are now tied for dead last in the NHL with the Edmonton Oilers. Phaneuf will break in his new Sens jersey as they take on the Detroit Red Wings in Detroit. And it's official. The Blue Jays have locked up AL MVP Josh Donaldson to a 2-year deal worth $28.6 million. The deal was finalized this afternoon, and that means the bringer of rain will be coming up with a lot more clutch plays for the Jays. Now, Toronto All-Stars Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan are getting ready for a huge weekend in Toronto, and not just because it's Valentine's Day. The NBA All-Star activities begin this Friday with the NBA Rookie Challenge and Celebrity Game. Festivities continue Saturday with the NBA All-Star Practice, and the weekend come to an end with the All-Star Game Sunday at 8 p.m. And days before the All-Star break, the Toronto Raptors must finish their second half of the season strong as they play Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. in Minnesota. And our Sheridan men's basketball team is working hard to get out of their third-place rut and jump to first. Our reporter, Tanya Maruzek, has the story.
Sheridan Bruins men's basketball team took on their toughest opponents to date, Mohawk College. They were down 14 points in the first quarter. With Mohawk dominating the first two quarters, the Bruins continued to play hard, and before halftime, the score started climbing up for our Bruins.
Well, they're great. They won the Ontario Championship last year. The year before, we beat them in the semifinal of the Ontario Championship. The year before that, we beat them in the final of the Ontario Championship. And the year before that, they were the national champions and the Ontario champion. So they're tough. Mohawk represents all of Hamilton, which is a basketball hotbed. They got great players, and they're very well coached. So it's a tough opponent.
The third quarter gave the Bruins their first lead, and they soared to a 77-73 advantage heading into the final quarter. In order to win the game, the team had to make some tactical adjustments.
We had to grind it out and just man up, make our shots, and shift the momentum of the game.
Now the squad prepares to face the top team and their biggest rival, Humber.
This division is the toughest division in not even Ontario. Like the western part of Ontario is the toughest division in Canada. It's the deepest. So we have to go and play Humber, and that's a rivalry that goes back 40 years. They're playing great right now. That's going to be tough.
Overall, the Bruins fought hard and claimed victory over Mohawk with a score of 105-102. But the war is not just over. On February 11th, the Bruins traveled to Humber, where they battle it out for first in the West. Reporting for On Sheridan, I'm Tanya Marusik.
And the Denver Broncos party didn't end Sunday night after their 24-10 Super Bowl victory against the Carolina Panthers. After an outstanding performance from their defense, MVP Von Miller, quarterback Peyton Manning, and coach Gary Kubiak took the Lombardi Trophy for a little ride yesterday afternoon in downtown Denver, with millions of Bronco fans cheering them on. And a big weekend ahead for the Canadian women's soccer team. It's headed to Houston, Texas for the CONCACAF Olympic qualifying tournament. The team looks a little different than it did the last World Cup. Christine Sinclair will be Canada's captain, but Canadian coach John Herdman made sure that he added some youth in this year's roster, including 21-year-old goaltender Sabria D'Angelo. They'll take on Guyana tomorrow at 8:30. And it's definitely going to be a busy weekend for Toronto. What's happening in entertainment, Olivia?
Yeah. Hey guys, so right now we're sitting at -9 right now. It's nothing like last week. It's a bit more snowy, not as much spring temperature. So our 5-day forecast, we're looking at -9 with a low of -11 on Thursday. Friday, it's a bit nearer seasonal with a -4, but a low of -19, so watch out for that. Saturday, it's time to start packing it in as a -16, a low of -21. Sunday, the weather is kind of cold with a -11 and a low of -12. But Monday, it's finally plus. Well, sort of. It's an even number with a low of -3. It is scattered flurries on that day, so not too bad, but, not too good. That's all I have for weather, so back to you guys in the newsroom.
Thanks, Brendan. We'll see you after the break.
Well, all right then. Was her mic not on? I think she was on mute. I
made sure to check mine. My clip, there's supposed to be a clip, but I kept reading. There's supposed to be a clip in between, and I knew that, and I didn't hear the audio of it. There's just like something.
Entertainment. Go to Olivia.
See you, Olivia. There you go. Get your camping gears ready. The performers for the second year of the Way Home Music and Arts Festival have just been announced. The summer's lineup features The Killers and Arcade Fire. Other acts include Major Lazer, FKA Twigs, Future, and the Arkells. The festival is held at Burles Creek Event Grounds outside the Barrie from July 22nd through the 24th. Tickets go on sale February 16th. Sierra is suing her ex-fiancé Future for $15 million. The Goodies singer hit the rapper with an expensive slander lawsuit. Sierra decided to take their co-parenting problems to the courtroom after Future's interviews and tweets questioning the parenting skills of his fourth baby mother. Future is claiming that CC already made enough money by writing about him in the song I Bet. Is Future even worth $15 million? The second Zoolander film is almost here. It's been 15 years since the release of the first Zoolander movie. The cast includes Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Penelope Cruz, Kristen Wiig, and Will Ferrell. Check it out.
But how am I supposed to stop Mugatu?
I'm the Mama Pajamba! I'm the Mama Pajamba!
You're Derek Zoolander. He stopped a Chinese throwing star with a look. Flash me that beautiful Magnum.
Wait, Magnum, now! Oh! You have this! Oh! Yeah! Tequila! Oh!
Maybe we could try a washcloth.
Promotion for Zoolander 2 has included the kickoff of New York Fashion Week, a Vogue cover, and a Snapchat story of a star-studded multi-designer runway show. It hits in theaters everywhere this Friday. Speaking of fashion, Tariq Mashal spoke to designer Tanya Theberge, who's getting ready for Fashion Art Toronto, the indie version of Fashion Week.
With Toronto's fashion industry constantly growing, designers are given the opportunity to showcase their talents at Toronto Fashion Week, galleries, and pop-up shops. I sat with Tanya Theberge, a fashion entrepreneur and custom bikini designer.
I don't find anything challenging the way I find fashion in terms of pushing my creativity because I can get my hands into so many different things.
Tanya was one of the finalists at the SpongeBob Design Challenge at Toronto Fashion Incubator and is now launching her first ever haute couture collection. She explains where she got her inspiration from.
The diamond and my interpretation of the diamond, symbolically and like architecturally. So in terms of the diamond symbolism, for me, I see it everywhere, and it's a reminder to focus.
But how can those uniquely handmade pieces of art be visually merchandised at Fashion Art Toronto?
I think in general, the pieces would speak for themselves, and you'd want to keep them pretty simple, and then do the hair and makeup in a way that lends to the piece.
Tanya will be debuting her fashion collection this April, and I will have exclusive coverage at Fashion Art Toronto. I'm Tariq Mashal reporting for On Sheridan.
NBA All-Star Weekend events kicked off last night at Michelle and Ness event in Toronto. Artist Pusha T performed some of his hit songs. Other events this week includes the new Jordan brand pop-up shop and events hosted by comedian Kevin Hart, Shaquille O'Neal, Ludacris, and of course, the Sixth God Drake.
It appears that accordions may be making a comeback. The University of Toronto is now the only school offering a degree in accordion playing. The squeezebox-style instrument can be heard in music by Mumford & Sons, Arcade Fire, and the Lumineers. That's all we have for today's show. I'm Crystal Devines.
And I'm Marvin Jonas. We'll see you next Wednesday for another edition of On Sheridan. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Rye, do you have your phone up?